Hi, I'm Fish of the Justice League, helped once again by my friend Brainmaster. This is my tips video for Granary. So quickly going to run through a few points of Granary, hopefully give some advice out to teams out there who play Granary quite a bit. Obviously the rollout to Granary is pretty straightforward. Demo man soldiers, healing is no different to any other map particularly. You might want to encourage one soldier to jump quicker to get this health back here. If you can pick up this health back here, you shouldn't be much slower to mids. When you're going into mid, you should aim to have your soldiers not far off the 300 mark. The main thing about Granary mids is it's quite a tough map for medics on the mids, so don't put a lot of focus into keeping alive as a medic. But the one tip is, I consider this general area here, from sort of here up to here, pretty much an area not to be in, because if you're going to stay in this area, you are going to die. So as a medic, you need to either tag onto your demo man, get out towards the point, or if you're going to run down the left channel, obviously run up the left channel and tag soldiers or whatever is down here. That's the first tip for medic. So obviously running out to Granary mid, there's a couple of mids you can use. Not going to go into great detail again, just going to give sort of basic idea of mids. It's very important, obviously demo man gets the lion's share of the heals on mids, so your soldiers should be floating around up top, protecting you from above. You should be putting a lot of damage out to them, and from then on you should be moving a soldier towards them, obviously into their faces. Need to be careful your demo man doesn't die quite early on Granary mids. I think the earlier your demo man goes down, the harder it is to get the middle point. Don't be afraid to fall out. So as a medic, if I'm coming into mids, generally at this point here, and my demo man dies, I probably won't contest the mids, purely because we're lacking quite a lot of spam, and the pipe spam, sticky spam in that general area there is quite a lot to miss out on. Scouts can tend to float around on the mid so long as they're keeping the demo man protected. A lot of teams will run their scouts up top here, which is a fine tactic so long as they're there to drop down on the demo man to support him in times of needs. Soldiers, I tend to like them up the top here. Obviously you have a Roman soldier ready to jump over to them if the demo man calls they're weak. It's quite easy to protect a medic from above, so for pocket soldiers, don't sit on the floor with your medic. Just watch him from above. If he's on the floor, you can see a lot of what's going around onto him. If you set a mid up right, you should be able to lock out behind you. So if you've got two soldiers up here, the behind you should be locked out because the Rome soldier's watching down here. The pocket soldiers watching around this area, and nothing should really get past these soldiers and behind them. So as a medic, you're quite safe to get on that point with the demo, and perhaps just have a scout float behind you just as extra protection. And then for Granary, the tip is just kind of move as a team. If you're going to move across aggressively at them, just do it as a team. So it's kind of all in. Just try and put some pressure onto their medic, and accept your medic's going to die a little bit more on this mid than other maps. It is quite a tough map for a medic. So for medics out there, if you are dying quite a bit, I'm going to try and change tactics for your teams to encourage that they're helping support you to support them. Yeah, support to get their medic down. So at least if you die, the careful thing to be aware of on Granary, if you completely wipe on mids, it's a very simple map to roll through and obviously win a quick round. So I'm going to quickly run through CP3 now. So hold in CP3. Most teams will not push you unless there's a clear Uber advantage. It's really hard to push CP3, but if you're going to be holding against an Uber, have some stickies on the ramp room, stickies on the left, whatever your demo man's comfortable with. As a medic, I'm going to stay here, healing my pocket soldier up there. My roam soldier will probably be up there with scouts floating around. Obviously, there's a couple of points where scouts can hide for a back cap, scouts can get up there for a back cap, scouts can get up on top of here. So be aware to check those spots when you push in, just so the scouts can't get behind you for a back cap, because it's quite easy to back cap on Granary. So holding on to mid, the only thing you want their team to do is obviously pop the Uber and then get out. Once they pop the Uber, you need to fall out. If you're not far off an Uber, push back in, which is fine, but do fall out once they've used their Uber charge. So that's holding CP3. Pushing CP3 wise, the only time I'd be pushing CP3 is if I've got one of two picks. One would be the demo man. If I kill the demo, I would be encouraged to push into CP3 purely because there's no more dangerous stickies. If you're going to get the other pick, would be a medic obviously, so you've got an Uber advantage. If you're going to push in, the tip is to kind of just get all in and get scouts onto the cap and make sure you are capping it. So generally, if I push CP3, I'd probably be taking the right side with a soldier demo man. I might send a soldier scout left. It depends where I want them to float. One scout will probably go out through top just to spot, have a quick check of the back cap spots. Most of the time I'm going to Uber through this door after someone's checked this door for stickies. More than likely there is going to be stickies on this door, so I'm just going to Uber through, get my soldier and demo man to push them back into the right corner or push them back out of ramp room. Then I'm going to hold on to CP3, get the cap off. If they're not far off Uber, I'll be ready again in a position to fall, standing here as medic. I'll be in a position to fall out, so I'm not going to get killed. So that's pretty much pushing and holding on to CP3. CP2, and before we get to CP2, the yard hold. Obviously, a lot of teams will like to hold the yards, and this is holding Uber versus Uber. You can hold on to the yards. So holding the yards as a medic, I'll generally stand in this sort of area here. My demo man will be sticky on the right side on the hole, or if he wants to mix it up, he can sticky the left side as well. It's his choice. Alongside that, my pocket soldier will be standing up here on top of the hut, stand on top of the hut to watch the left sides, if I can get on top of the hut, stand on top of the hut to watch the left sides, hopefully stop soldiers jumping in on me. A lot of teams will try and jump a soldier in. If you're holding as a medic and holding here, you can kind of surf a rocket back around this corner to safety. My scouts would hold on the right side, covering the right entrance. My roam soldier's free to roam. He might help the scouts, he might be with me. It depends what sort of hold we're running. Obviously be aware of sticky spots like people using the cones to sticky. Perhaps sticky's just here when you push in. Obviously you've got the hiding spot underneath when you're trying to push into the yards. If you're going to push yard, just kind of do it. Just push the Uber through, make them Uber, fall back, see where it leaves you. You can jump a soldier into them if you want, or if they're holding the right yard, you can push aggressively strong down the left yard to take the yard back against them. So pushing CP2, if they're holding on to CP2 and pushing Uber versus Uber, you're probably going to have your demo man soldiers standing here with a medic, scouts and roamers over there. Be very careful of the drop down. Make sure someone's covering off the drop down. And when you're going to push in, again, tip is, if they don't have an Uber, just kind of use your demo man and your soldier to push in strong, push them back out of this right corner, get them off point 2, get your scouts to come up and cap. You don't have to do any more than that. You don't have to pick off loads of frags. You just need to push their team out of the point, back onto CP1, grab the cap. It's quite tricky to push back onto CP2, so the other team probably won't do it. But if they do it, I'll come to the holder in a minute. If you're pushing Uber versus Uber, you do have a chance to just poke your soldier and your demo man to put toes on point, as I call it. They just kind of start to cap, put a little bit of spam, come back for heals. Next one, a little bit of spam, come back for heals. The soldier and the two scouts will be working over the left side, trying to pick picks off, trying to get up top. You can do a garage push as well, where you might want to leave a soldier or a demo man over there. Again, your choice. Just if you're going to do a garage push, it has to be quick. You can't get into the garage and stop. It's quite a dangerous area here as medic. You just want to get into the garage and round onto them. If you want to go top, then go top. Just whatever you're going to do it quite quickly. So pushing CP2, just try and push them back with the Uber. You don't have to pick off loads of frags. Get onto the cap. Make sure you've got 2 scouts onto it to cap. And that's pretty much job done. Holding on to CP2. If you're holding on to CP2, you're going to split your team into 3 and 3. You're going to have 2 scouts and a soldier watching this garage area. Soldier might be up top, soldier might be on the stairs, supporting the scouts, whatever's needed. Then you're going to have pocket, demo, medic. You're either going to be standing here or you're going to be standing here. Generally, it's your choice to where you stand as medic, whatever you're comfortable with. And all you want them to do is to use the Uber back at them. If you're facing an Uber versus non-Uber, all you want them to do is to pop for this point. So if they do pop in this point, you just want to fall your team back, give up CP2, and start to work on how you're going to push back at them if you get the Uber. If you're not far off it, you might want to chance it, stay not too far from it, just push back onto the point. The key in this defense is not losing players. If you give the enemy a free pick, they're going to push you quite early. If you keep 6 up, you're going to force them to use the Uber, and obviously you're going to give yourself a good chance to hold on to it, push them back out, and they'll give it a try again, or you might get lucky with a good pick. If you're going to push out from CP2 and they're holding the yards, most demo men are going to sticky this door. So have a quick look if you want to push out this side, or you have the opportunity to push out through the right, bounce onto the left, and obviously onto their team. Just be very careful to check all the spots for scouts, soldiers, anything hiding for a back cap. Make sure a scout goes up top to check for the drop down. Just checking the area up top, making sure no scouts can get behind. Checking the drop down area, checking around here is clear. And that, if you're going to push out into the yards, that's pretty much CP2 covered. Moving on to pushing back into CP2. So pushing into CP2, The way to do it is just everyone needs to take an entrance. You need to make sure you're going to get 2 scouts onto the point. Again, pushing onto CP2, it needs to be an uber advantage or a demo man pick for push. As a medic, I don't really have a preferred way of pushing. I just push with usually the demo man or a soldier, whoever kind of I feel like pushing with that time. But make sure you get something pushed left, something pushed right, something pushed top. And all you want to do is just make sure you push them off the point, get cap. The person that goes top just needs to cover this area here, spot if there's anything in the garage, have a quick look there. And again, it's the use of the Uber, is to push them off the point, push them back out, get that cap, come back, because they won't be far off an Uber, or you have Uber advantage, come back for your CP2 defense and see where it leaves you. It's a game, the Granary is quite heavily just on numbers more than anything else, so make sure you try and keep a good numbers advantage against them, or make sure it's even at least 6v6, 5v5, etc. So you don't want to give away free picks. And obviously the good pick for Granary is Demo Man. If you take the Demo Man out, there's less dangerous stickies, less you need to use the Uber early. Moving on to CP1. CP1 defense, you can defend it with a couple of ways. You can have a sniper, quite handy to watch for the enemy sniper. As a medic, there's a couple of places I like to stand. I'll either stand on the pipe or I'll stand behind the tyres, generally in this sort of area here, so I can be safe from sniper. Watch out for a spy if you're going to be defending it. And then it's a case of covering all the entrances, so you'll have a soldier up here watching the top so a sniper can't get in. Scout floating down there. You might have a scout on top of this pipe, but he'll be down there supported if you've got a sniper to open the door. Demo man, I'd probably have sticky in the left door, but again you can alternate that so you can sticky the right door. And it's just about holding an entrance, making them Uber in, keeping your team as tight as possible, Uber back at them, trying to pick off some frags, pushing them back off, making sure you don't leave the CP open. If you're defending last against an Uber disadvantage, so they've got an advantage, you need to kind of drop off the scouts. You don't really need a scout for last. It's not going to be any great benefit. So probably pick up a sniper, a heavy, maybe a heavy and a pyro, whatever you feel that you need is best. At least then you're creating a 450 heal target for them to kill. Have your soldiers kind of float around away from the medic a little bit, and have your medic kill the heavy. At the end of the day, your medic is probably going to die in this push. He won't be anywhere near Uber to get it quick enough. So you want to kind of sack the heavy medic, taking the focus away from everything else on your team, and when the Uber's out, chance that your soldier, 2 soldiers, your demo man, sniper or whatever he shows the player will come back at them and hopefully pick up some frags and hold the point off for you. That's pretty much holding CP1. Pushing CP1, you can run quite a few different class setups here. You can have a spy, you can have a sniper, whatever you feel you need. If you're going to have an Uber advantage against them, you need to push with a little bit of speed. It tends to be that you can either push the left side, but you need to get onto them quite quickly. You can push the right as well. Just be careful. Demo men tend to sticky the right side. So if you're going to push the right side, Uber early onto them. So you just Uber onto them, take out their medic, aim for the demo man, get onto the point, get some cap time, pick off whatever frags need to be picked. So long as it's very quick with an Uber advantage, you need to get in and down onto them as quick as possible. You can't be stuck away from them. You need to get stuck into them quite quickly. And that's the same if you push the left side. Be careful of a sniper who'll probably pop you early. You just need to Uber out. 2 soldiers need to go quite aggressive over to them. You need to push everything onto the medic, onto the demo man, onto whatever needs to be killed at the time. Focus the fire. Make sure you're taking down the same targets. Pick off a good number of kills. That's when you want to get the cap. And Uber versus Uber, perhaps a little bit harder on this map to push Uber versus Uber. It's not a case of you can Uber in, make them Uber and fall out, because of the distance between you and the medic. It's quite a tough last to push Uber versus Uber. So you might want to pick up a sniper, you might want to pick up a spy, something to break it a little bit. Or you can obviously pick up a heavy. Heavy's quite nice on last as well. So you can pick up a heavy as well. But again, same sort of philosophy applies. Just push as strong as the team. If they've used the Uber, then encourage the team to get out. All you want to do really is force them to pop. So if they've popped, then you've got an Uber advantage to go in against them. If you're going to run a heavy, heavy's quite nice. Just take the heavy up top. Obviously check this doorway for stickies just in case. Then move the heavy, Uber in through here. Take the heavy as far down as you can. Make sure that they Uber. Then you can pretty much sack the heavy. They're all going to focus on the heavy, waste quite a bit of ammo on the heavy. Then you can bring your team in from either the left, right side, maybe split your team a little bit, and then come onto them. Medic can fall off, pick up your team if they're coming in right, go into them, and then it just becomes a straightforward DM. No real great way of pushing CP1 that I've found. It's just kind of trying to get yourself an advantage against them. Trying to sack maybe one player, trying to do a suicide, try and get a sniper pick. It's quite a tough last to push, Uber versus Uber, so you want to try and break it up a little bit. Just a few quick tips for Granary. Granary is quite a slow-paced map. It's only really a roll if you completely wipe at mid, then they're going to roll you all the way back to last, and you're going to struggle to hold on to that round. But Granary's more of a patient map. You need to be quite patient when you play it. You need to keep 6 players alive. You need to be very thoughtful. Not really going to be a lot of hero plays in it. It's not like a scout's going to go in and DM 5 people and kill all 5. It needs to be a very team play map, so you need to keep 6 people up. You need to work on pushes together, take the same classes together, push the same ways. If you're going to push the left side, then encourage people to push the right side as well, so you're creating 2 points of entrance. That pretty much concludes my tips on Granary. Perhaps not quite as long as some of the other maps, but it's a pretty straightforward map. It's pretty tactical. It's a little bit more slow-paced. Again, I've been Fish of the Justice League. You can find me in IRC and #tf2.mentor. You're more than welcome to add me on Steam, or you can add into my Steam group, Fish TF2 Tips, I believe it is. Brainmaster will link it from the forums. More than welcome to ask me any questions. I'm more than happy to answer. Really keen to obviously help upcoming teams, new players into the game, because obviously everyone wants to see the game flourish. Again, I've been Fish.